Assalamu alaikum students. How are you? I hope you all are doing good. So once again, welcome back to my economics class. So this is the second part of our chapter number first, that is the introduction to microeconomics. So in the previous video, you just learned about the economics meaning, which is given by four different authors, four different famous economists. So again, we are continuing from the same chapter. Let's have a look on the topics which we are going to cover in this video. So here are the topics which we are going to continue. So the first one is scope of economics, means what are the areas which economics study, which economics cover. So it would be of different aspects we will study. And the second concept which we are going to study is basic concepts of economics. In this, you will come to know about the important terms which is used in economics. And third one is meaning of utility and its characteristics. And the utility word obviously would be a very new word for you people, because you just entered in the +1 standard, and it would be fun, or it would be interesting to understand the utility concept. So let's start with the first topic of today's video, that is scope of economics. I told you that economic scope means the area which economics study actually. So here are three different aspects through which we will understand which area is covered by economics. So the first one is economics, its subject matters. What are the important things which covered under economics? And the second one is economics is an art and a science. You will come to know in which subject it comes under the subject economics. Is it actually art or is it actually science? You will have a look on different points. And the last aspect is economics positive science or and normative science. It is very important concept to understand what is positive science or statement, what is normative science or statement. So let's start with the first point, that is economics, its subject matters. So here I wrote the important points, like economics has subject matter of its own. Economics tells how a man utilize means uses his limited resources for the satisfaction of unlimited wants. This is very important line which you have to understand. This is very important thing of economics. It means that we are living in a country, or we are living in a world where the resources are limited, where the things which are used to satisfy our needs and wants are limited. But you know very well the needs of us are unlimited, and we have to deal that what need is very important. What need should be satisfied first? So man has limited amount of time and money also, and he should spend time and money in such a way that he drives maximum satisfaction. Okay, like a man wants food, clothing, shelter, okay, for living. To get these things, he must have money. Okay, so for getting money, he must make an effort. He have to do something to earn the money, and effort leads to satisfaction. Thus want, first of all, there is a want of us, we need something. This is called want. To satisfy that want, we have to do something, to earn money. Then by earning money, we will spend on the goods which we want, and then it will come to satisfaction. Satisfaction means completing your needs, completing your wants. So, the next point of scope of economics is economics is an art or a science. Here arises a question in which subject it actually relies the economics. So first we'll have a look on the art concept. So art is a subject which deals with practical knowledge, which deals with practical application of the things. If I consider a musician, it's obvious that he studies or he or she studies about the music concept in detail, but actually when it comes to the practical work, they use their own imagination, their own creativity to make a new music. In the same way, if we want to study economics, there are so many books available, but to deal with economic problem, there are so many solutions offered by so many economists. So in the same way, we can relate the arts with the economics, because economics also use the creativity of the person to solve the economic problem of the country. Here we come that economics, and we can consider here that economics is an art. Okay, now we will move to the science concept. Okay, before considering any law in science, they usually study the relationship between cause and effect. What are the reasons of any problem, anything? Then what is the result of that thing which when it happens actually? So in the same way, economics examines the relationship between cause and the effect of the problem. So hence we can say that economics is an art as well as a science, but still there is a contradiction that we can't say economics as a science completely, because science is extreme thing. I mean, where the result of any experiment is same in every world, in everywhere in the world. But in economics, there is some issues regarding this. So in some books, it is considered that economics is a social science. Social science, why? Because it deals with the people problem. So the next point which comes under the scope of economics is economics as a positive science and a normative science, which you have studied. So here I will explain first the positive science or positive statement. It is well known with the name positive statement. Okay, so in short, I just wrote here that positive statement are objective statements that can be tested, amended, or rejected by referring to the available evidence. I mean, it is a kind of statement which can be proved by the fact and data. There is a statement which can be rejected or which can be accepted by the data actually. So here I come with the explanation of that positive economics is a stream of economics that focuses on the description, quantification means which can be expressed in the numbers, and explanation of the economic development, expectation, and association phenomena. I told you that it relies, it means it depends on the objective data analysis, data, relevant fact, associated figures. It attempts to establish any cause and effect relationship which can help to ascertain and to test the development of economic theories. So here are some examples of that. Just have a look on that a fall in income will lead to rise in the demand for own label supermarket foods, or if the government raises the tax on beer, this will lead to a fall in the profit of the brewers. Obviously, if the government raises the tax, it will happen that the people can deny from buying the beer because the price of the beer is up to rise now. So how can we say this statement? By studying the fact or by studying the data in the previous years. So the next point is economics normative science. It's just a part of the third point. I'm explaining differently here. So the normative economics or normative statement or normative science focuses on the ideological, opinion oriented, prescriptive value judgment. It is not dealing with any fact or with any proper data, but it is completely focused on the judgment of a person. It focuses on the opinion of the person. Subjective here means, the change to person to person. Views of a person changes from person to person. There cannot be same views from different persons. It can happen, but it cannot be happen. So, normative statement basically deals with the opinion, what should be done, what should be done to improve this situation. So, so basically, its goal is to summarize people desirability to various economics development situation and programs by asking what should happen or what ought to be. Basically, we are just collecting, we are just studying the opinion of the public regarding the different economic problems. So that is come under normative science or normative statement. So here I gave the example to understand the concept, to make it understandable to you people, that pollution is the most serious economic problem. Can be a opinion of a person. We can't just say that it is actually a most serious problem, but it is the opinion of a person. So that's why it covered under the normative science or normative statement. Again, there is a example here is unemployment is more harmful than inflation. How can we say, how can we prove this statement by the fact? No, it's just an opinion, it's just a judgment of a person. That's why it comes under the normative economics. So the next concept of our today's video is basic concepts, basic terminology which is used in economics, that is goods and services. So let's start with the term goods. Here I wrote it. Goods are material things wanted by human being. Why it is wanted? Let me clear you. Goods are items that satisfy human want and need and provide utility means usage. For example, to a consumer making a purchase of any satisfying product is known as goods. Like if you are thirsty, you are buying any cold drink, it is a goods. So it can be seen or touched. Why I am writing here the point? Because we have to make a difference between goods and services. So that's why it's a point that it can be seen and touched, but on the case of services, it cannot be seen or it cannot be touched, but it can be feel. We'll study under service point. So here's the example that when we are hungry, we take food. Okay. When we fall sick, we take medicine. And when we study, we use, for study materials, we use books, notebooks, pen, paper, etc. All these are example of goods which satisfy some of our wants and needs. All the things which satisfy human wants are goods in short. Just listed some of the examples of goods like food, which is used to satisfy our hunger. Medicine, whenever we are feel sick, then we use this medicine. It is also considered as goods. Books, pen, you know very well, for studying purposes, for writing purposes, we use this. So here are the types of goods and services. I listed here three types basically: free and economic goods. Second one is consumer goods and capital goods. Third one is perishable goods and durable goods, and it also includes semi-durable goods. So the first point here is free and economic goods. So it also differentiated between 3 points under. It covers 3 points, that is free goods, public goods, and private goods. So free, it means the goods which are available in abundance and we not need to pay anything for these type of goods and services. It covers sunshine or water or air I mean, you know very well that it is a free goods which is provided by the nature when we need not to pay anything for this, and it is available in abundance. And the second point it covers is public goods. So public goods are those goods which are available for the public for free of cost. So I just gave here the example of public parks, like we can go there without paying any money and it is available for everyone in the economy, in the society. It also covers the national defense services, that like we are getting the security at the borders. Why the, I mean, BSF, the border security force is protecting our borders. For whom? For us. So that's why it is a kind of services which is also covered under public goods. And we are not paying anything for that. You just remember this. Private goods means which is owned by an individual, which is, I mean, you are buying any soft drink or any chocolate or anything. You buy, you bought this thing. So it is your thing. That's why it's covered under private goods. So the second type here is consumer goods and capital goods. So basically consumer goods are those goods which directly satisfy the human wants, human needs. Anything which you are using to complete your want, to complete your need is known as consumer goods. For traveling you are using the car. For completing your hunger, for you are using the food. It is consumer goods. You here you have to remember one point is consumer goods cannot be used to make money. On the other hand, capital goods are those goods which help to produce the consumer goods, here I wrote, but it also include those goods which are used to make money. I will give you an example here. Like if you bought a car for your own purposes, then it would be considered as consumer goods. For a taxi driver, that car will be considered as capital goods because he is using his car for the purpose of earning the money. So that's why it is considered as capital goods. So the third type here is perishable goods and durable goods. So perishable goods means those goods which deteriorate quickly when not stored in proper situation. So basically those goods whose lifespan is very less, like fruits and vegetable. Their lifetime is very less, you know very well, if it is not stored in refrigerated stores. So it covered under perishable goods whose lifetime is less. On the other hand, there is durable goods. So durable goods are a category of tangible products that last 3 years or longer. I mean those goods whose lifetime is, I mean, more than 3 years. Typically these goods are a bit more expensive. Obviously, if it can be used for 3 or 4 years, its price would be very high. So that's why it is considered expensive product, expensive goods, because they tend to last for long period of time. Here I gave the examples like television, refrigerator, washing machine, anything which is used more than 3 or 4 years, and it depends upon the situation of the goods. It can be used for 10 years also. So the next very important term which is used in economics is services. We just understand the term goods. Now it's time for understanding the term services. So service are non-material things. I mean, which cannot be touched or which cannot be seen, but their effect can be feel only. I hope you are understanding this point. Like if you are traveling in a train, I mean, the services, you are moving from one place to another place. That is the service provided by the train, provided by the railways. Okay. In the same way, I just gave here the examples like if you want for haircut, washing of clothes, mending of shoes, stitching of clothes, studying in a school or a college are not satisfied by the goods. You know very well. These are satisfied by the service performed by a barber for haircut, washerman for washing of clothes, cobbler for mending of shoes, tailor for stitching of clothes, and teacher for studying in a school or in a college. Just listed some of the examples of services like a tailor, barber, teacher, and a doctor, which is providing a service to the patient. So here I just extended the topic of service here by giving some of the features of service so that you can understand this concept clearly. So the first point is intangible. So like a physical product is visible, but services are intangible. The service cannot be touched and viewed. So it is difficult for the clients to tell in advance what they will be getting. For example, bank promotes its sale of credit cards by emphasizing the convenience and advantages derived from possessing a credit card. But it can be, the result can be different. The result can be different from person to person because it depends upon the thing which we are performing. So you can't just guarantee, you can't just give guarantee of the thing which is giving to you, which is provided to you in the form of service. So the next point here is heterogeneous. So service involves people and people are different. There is a strong possibility that the same inquiry would be answered slightly different by different people. Because if someone is asking you some question, um, do you know very well there are different type of teachers in the school. Some teachers ask the question in a different way, in another teacher ask in a different way. So it's the kind of service the teacher is provided. So that's why it is known as heterogeneous, means difference in the services provided by different persons. So the next point here is inseparability. So personal services cannot be separated from the individuals. Like services are created and consumed simultaneously. The service is being produced at the same time that the client is receiving. For example, during an online search or a legal consultation, dentist, musician, dancer, etc. create and offer services at the same time. So the next point here is perishable. So service have a high degree of perishability. Unused capacity cannot be stored for future use. If service are not used today, it is lost forever. Like for example, spare seat in an aeroplane cannot be transferred to the next flight. Similarly, empty room in a five-star hotel and credit not utilized are example of services leading to economic loss. I hope with this features point, the service concept will be become very easy for you to understand. So it's time to start with the new topic, that is utility. Let's have a look on that. So the next concept which we are going to cover is utility. So it's the kind of measure of satisfaction an individual gets from the consumption of the commodity. So basically it's the kind of satisfaction which you obtain from consuming any good. Like if you are thirsty, you are drinking a cold drink. The amount of satisfaction you gain from that particular cold drink, it comes under the utility. In other words, it is a measurement of usefulness that a consumer obtains from any goods. And it can be different for one person to another person. If someone is very hungry and he have one chapati, the first chapati will give him a lot of satisfaction. And when he will consume the second chapati, the level of satisfaction will decrease a bit because the amount of requirement by the body is now decreasing. So it completely varies with the amount of desire. So let's have a look on the features of utility to understand this concept more in detail. So here I listed some of the characteristics of utility. The first one is utility is subjective. So the utility of a commodity is always subjective because it depends upon the consumer as much as on commodity. It is a psychological satisfaction as feeling of the consumer. Hence, it is internal, not external. So basically, subjective means which is difference from one person to another person, and we can't just, it's a kind of internal study, not an external study, and it completely depend upon the feeling of the consumer, and you can just, say the same type of satisfaction is obtained by two different persons, and that's why the characteristic of utility first point is subjective, which means different for one person to another person. The second point is utility is a relative and variable. So utility is highly relative and variable, like it varies from person to person and from time to time or place to place or for the same person. Again, a same commodity can give different utility to different people. Why? Because utility a person derives from either goods or services depends not only on his psychological attitude but also on his intensity, on the amount of desire he is having. So here the point I wrote is utility is unmeasurable. It's a contradictory point. Although Professor Marshall claimed that utility can be cardinally measured in the terms of money or price in the marginal utility analysis theory, I mean, there is a conflict between two economists. The one economist say that utility can be measured, and the other one is saying that utility cannot be measured. So it's a contradictory point here. So the next point is utility is abstract. So it is abstract in a sense as it cannot be seen or touched or felt. For example, teaching of a teacher, advice of a lawyer can neither be seen or touched. So hence utility is abstract. The next point is utility and pleasure. It is not necessary that a commodity possessing utility also give pleasure whenever it is consumed. There is no thing that if you are consuming a thing, it will provide you happiness. Okay, or I mean, and like an injection possesses utility to an individual, however, it gives him or her physical pain. Hence, utility and pleasure are unrelated. So here is the end of our today's video. So here it comes for the time of you people to complete the assignment questions on time. I gave here the three questions. Like first one is explain the scope of economics. Second one is explain the basic concepts of economics. Third one is what is utility and explain the characteristics of utility. So that's all from my side. So here is the end of today's video. Assalamu alaikum students. Take care. Thank you.